Keith Leon is a 5-time award-winning, 9-time international best-selling author, co-owner of a successful book publishing company, and an international speaker who's spoken at events that have included Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Neil Donald Walsh, Barbara DeAngelis, John Gray, Joe Vitale, Dr. John Demartini, Marie Diamond, and Marianne Williamson. He's appeared on many TV and radio shows, including The Jenny McCarthy Show, and his work has been covered by Inc. magazine and Huffington Post, just to name a few. Keith recently completed Volume 3 of his award-winning international best-selling book series entitled Navigating the Clickety-Clack, How to Live a Peace-Filled Life in a Seemingly Toxic World. In this series, he brings together a group of well-known visionaries to share the tools that they use to navigate through tough times of uncertainty, turmoil, fears, and when they get triggered by their surroundings. These teachers also share how they are able to stay peaceful and calm when others wouldn't. So welcome, Keith. Thank you so much for joining me. And to start with, what is the Clickety-Clack?
First of all, it's my pleasure to be here with you. I always love spending time with you. Look forward to the next time we can do that in person. So what is the Clickety-Clack? It is a book title and a project that downloaded, for lack of a better word, into me because I had written my life purpose book called Walking with My Angels, and I was 6 months into a 9-month tour on the road when everything shut down, when the world shut down and there were no more live events. And so I had waited almost 30 years to be told to write a book I was told I would write, right? And now I was living my purpose in life, which was teaching this work, and then I got 6 months of it and everything shut down. So I went through all the stages of grief, right? All the stages of grief, pissed off, right? Sad, like all of it. And on the other side of all the stages of grief with that, I said, if I'm not to do that, my life purpose project, what am I to do now? And I believe that the quality of my answers are based on the quality of my questions. So I was really clear, if I'm not to do that, what am I to do now? And so I went with that question in a meditation and prayer and just kept asking the question, waiting for the answer. A few days later, it took days of sitting in that question, but a few days later, I received the answer. I saw a vision of a mentor of mine and my wife's. His name was Fletch Rainey. And when we first started our company, he was like our spiritual mentor, a business mentor. And we would call him up with those new entrepreneur freakouts, right? You know how it is. You start a business. And he always would just say, relax, you're in the Clickety-Clack. Oh, you're in the Clickety-Clack. Don't worry about it. So finally I said, what is the Clickety-Clack that you're talking about? And he said, Keith, when you were growing up, did you have a 10-speed bicycle? And I said, yes. And he said, okay, so when you were changing from one gear to the next and it didn't catch yet, what is the noise that the chain made? And I was like, clickety-clack, clickety, oh, okay. And he said, yeah, so you're in the clickety-clack, but when you had faith that it was going to catch, so you kept pedaling, correct? Yes. And then when it did finally catch, you were off into a brand new gear, a whole new gear that was better than the gear before. Yes. So relax. You're just in the clickety-clack. Keep moving forward, having faith. Eventually it'll catch. You'll be into a whole new gear. So that was so profound to us that it always stayed in our mind. To be revealed later when I asked this question, so many years later. So I'm like, okay, I get it. So navigating the clickety-clack, where the whole world is shut down, there's no time that counts as the clickety-clack more than now, right? People in the I don't know what to do next phase. I don't know what to do now. What are we up to? What are we doing? Like we're just in the clickety-clack.
Yes.
So great. I have the title. So what would the subtitle be? And so I asked that question, breathed into it, and then I saw me giving workshops all over the country for years now. And the number one most attended workshop out of all the ones I did with all the subjects was called How to Live a Peace-Filled Life in a Toxic World. So I said, I have it, Navigating the Clickety-Clack, How to Live a Peace-Filled Life in a Toxic World. And I heard right over my shoulder, seemingly. And I was like, seemingly? Seemingly. Okay.
That's
So I
great.
looked at the title, right? I looked at the
Yeah.
title. I said, How to Live a Peaceful Life in a Seemingly Toxic World.
Yeah.
What a great distinction.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it isn't toxic. So that's our story about it, or it's what
Yeah.
we put on it.
Yeah. No, I love that because it can be, yes, but and then it's all about our interpretation of it. It's our
Right.
perspective of it. So that I think is brilliant.
Yeah,
Really
so I was
brilliant.
like, nice distinction. I heard you're welcome. I was like, okay. Uh, so then I was like, okay, so is this book me, just me? And no, this is my process. This is how I do things, right? I hear these guys right here. So, so I'm like, is it just me? No. Superstars? Yes. Okay. So I went through a list and I got, okay, Jack Canfield, yes. Bob Proctor, yes. Christy Whitman, yes. That was the three yeses I got. So they were in the first book. And so then I listed off other famous people and it was like, no. So I'm like, okay, so three superstars? Anybody else? Yes.
Mm.
Okay, so then I started getting more specific. Other luminaries that maybe aren't as well known as Jack and Bob? Yes. Okay, but they're visionaries, they're difference makers, and they're living the principles of what we're teaching in the book. Absolutely. Okay, so that's it. It must be people who are living, walking, talking demonstration of that subtitle. We are the people that are staying peaceful in a seemingly toxic world, and we have the tools to do that. And we've been
Right.
through the clickety-clack ourselves. Okay, got it. So that's when I first called Jack, Bob, Christy Whitman. They all were like, are you kidding me? Yes, yes. Oh, man, it's needed right now so badly. And then I reached out to the few people that I personally knew were living, walking, talking, and demonstrating those principles and had the tools, asked them if they wanted to be in the book, and then I asked them, who do you know that is a match? And
Mm.
so there was no like one webinar to fill the book with people I don't know. It was all speaking to people one-on-one, one at a time, asking them, tell me about a time you've been through the clickety-clack, and right, how did you get out of that, and what kind of tools would you recommend to others to get through those times
Mm.
when other people wouldn't stay calm? How do you stay calm? And the answers that they told me, I was just like, it's a match, it's a match. And so I did. The first book
Mm-hmm.
was the one with Bob Proctor and Jack
Mm-hmm.
Canfield and Christy Whitman and I think 15 other visionaries. Second one had Marie Diamond, Joe Vitale, and Adam Arkell.
Mm-hmm.
Each of them seemed to have two people from The Secret, and then and then another superstar.
Okay.
And then the one that's coming out in January, on
Yeah.
January 13th, has John Demartini, dear friend and mentor of mine, Reverend Michael Beckwith, also friend and mentor, both from The Secret, and me. And
Cool.
then also 15 other visionaries and people that I met who are absolutely a walking, talking demonstration of what we're teaching.
Interesting. So do you share, is this the story you share in the book, or you're not going to say?
In the introduction, it
Mm-hmm.
shares all about that, like what I
Okay.
was going through, how the idea was birthed, and how I reached out to people, and all of that's in the
Mm.
introduction. Yeah, so that's my contribution, introduction, conclusion, and then I'm the publisher. Our company is, so I bring it all together. With this project, I love to do all the interviews myself as well because I'm receiving as I'm
Mm.
learning, right, from all these
Yes.
incredible people. So that's one of the things that I receive from this beautiful book project is getting to take those interviews and then we turn those interviews into the chapters for the book.
Wow. And it's something that I enjoy from having conversations with people in this forum as well, because I gain just as much as everyone else, something from
Right?
everybody that I interview. So, we're similar in that respect. And I think we're similar in another respect because I keep being drawn to your angel over your right shoulder. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, well, uh, as I shared, I was 6 months into a 9-month Angel tour when everything shut down
Mhm.
and there were no more live events. So
Right.
my wife and I were up in Vermont, and before we left, we decided we had to have the event that we were going to have in our hometown, so we had it in our RV. So this RV was packed with people, and I did the workshop, and one of the people that was at the workshop was a teenage girl, and she painted this and gave it to me before we left to come down to Florida. So she said, I have something for you. And so this is Azrael, who during the event came to her and was speaking to her as I was teaching. And she had never heard of Azrael. She just came up after and said, you ever heard of Azrael? And I was like, yeah, he's right, does this and this and this. And she's like,
Well, what
okay,
does he
that
do?
makes
Because
sense.
I'm not familiar. What does
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Azrael is the one who can guide you with next steps, right? Guide you with your journey. Helps
Wow.
when you're in depression, in a bad place. You know, what should I do? It's kind of in tandem with this, right? Would be the one who would help you discover what you should do if you're in the Clickety-Clack. It's kind of that angel, and she was going through some things at the time that it just felt totally appropriate that Azrael would be the one who came and was saying, you know, speak to me often, and I'll give you the answers you seek. And so she's just like, first of all, I'd never heard voices before. So I never heard of Azrael before. So if you say that's an archangel, then it must have actually talked to me, and I'm not making this up. And it just really shifted something for her, and so much that she even asked Azrael, how do you want me to paint you? And that's what came forth. Yeah. So I was just like, wow. So in our RV, it's literally the only painting that we have up is hers, and it just ends up that where I decide to set up and do all of my calls, it's right over my shoulder. So
I have something similar. If you look over my right shoulder, it's a little bit hard to discern. That's a dragonfly, and
cool.
And it represents some angels that I know that passed away too early at the hands of medical errors. So I dedicate my work to them. And I bought it, or I saw it after a memorial service for my daughter's former third grade teacher who had a complication due to an elective knee surgery and was at work Friday and didn't show up Monday. And she was, I think, 61 with, 3 newly adult kids. And it, I think what really hurt me the most, well, not hurt me, but touched me the most was that I offered to help her. And she didn't go for it. And it might have been because of cost. So that was one of the reasons I created my online program. So that's my angel. It doesn't have a name.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Azrael, like if you look up Azrael in Google, is really most well known for aiding in transition when somebody's leaving the planet.
Perfect.
And you're like, want to bring forth an angel that will aid in that process of leaving this realm and going to the next, or aid in helping you know what to do.
Right.
Azrael is one that you call on. So I just call that really transition of any kind, right? So if you're in transition and you need support from here to here, Azrael can be the go-to, but they're all kind of most famous for something in that. So Azrael is known for aiding in the transition from this realm to the next.
And what was, so tell me about the response of the first books.
Oh, yeah, well, they're both were international bestsellers. The first one was in 9 countries. The second one was 7 countries, number 1 in all those different countries. And the first one, of course, I just thought it was just going to be one. Right? This is one and done. It's a great download. It's a great idea. We'll help the world. It'll be great. But what happened was after the first one came out, I was getting tons of emails from people who bought the book and then read it and said, are you going to do a second one?
Right.
I got some great tools, but I can never have too many tools. I would love more. And then people who are in the book were like, oh my gosh, I just thought of a few more people that would be perfect, who I know are walking, talking demonstration. It just seemed like everywhere I turned was like, is there going to be another one? So I was like, okay, if there's to be another one, let me know, right? Sometimes I want a clear sign, right? And And they just kept coming and coming and coming. And so I was like, okay, all right. So I did the second one. Then international bestseller. We do these launch parties every time, the speakers, I interview all the speakers. We make it a bestseller, to take it to number one while we're on the call, right? Because everybody comes, purchases the book while they're live on the call, and then it spikes, right, to number one. So I'm like, oh, well, clearly we must be done, right? 2 books, we're good. And I'll just leave it to the universe to tell me. And so again, people were asking me, and I'm like, is there supposed to be a third one? Give me a sign. This time, as soon as I said that, I heard blink in my email box, right? And I saw an email from Reverend Michael Beckwith's camp, and I clicked it open, and it says, you had asked Reverend to be in the second book, and we didn't get back to you. Is it too late? Because he would love to be in it. So I was like, it was right when I asked, should I do another one, that email came. So I was like, no, it's not too late. Let's set up the interview. I'm doing a third one. So he was the first one booked for the third one, and it was just like clearly a sign. So I really get that it is a chicken soup for the soul series type of book, and it's for me to keep going until I get a sign that we're done, right? And that'll be just as clear as the other ones.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure about that. What you talk about the lessons in the book. So for you personally, which lesson or lessons stand out for you?
What stands out for me the most was it was clear to me who my mentors are, because when I was doing the interview with Jack Canfield, I had already written the introduction for the book, and in the introduction, I shared 3 tools that I would suggest for people that want to stay peaceful. And lo and behold, those were the 3 that he said in his interview. And I was like, well, it's obvious who I learned from, because he just said the same thing and put different words on it. But we both said, the work of Byron Katie. We both said, go within, go within, go within, right? And then the third one, he shared a tool that he teaches, right? And so I was just like, wow, so obvious, and how much that comes up with the mentors, the things that I do and that I've been teaching when I interview them for the book. Of course, those are the tools that they teach.
So you learned something. What were those 3, if you don't mind my asking? Those 3 tools.
Oh, the 3 that Jack and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was the work of Byron Katie. If you go to just look up Byron Katie and Google that, she does a thing called the work, and it's a process to talk yourself out of all the stinking thinking, monkey mind stuff that comes into your head that says you're not good enough, in real time, to just a very short set of inquiry questions that will bring you right out of that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and then the second one is meditation. Go within, go within, go within. Right, all the answers that you need to know are right there inside of you. And then the third one that Jack taught, it's a formula. So let me find it really quick. I think it's E plus R equals. It's one of those. So let me find that really quick. Alphabetical order. There it is. Okay. Here's a tool that Jack teaches. E plus R equals O. Events plus response equals outcome. Yeah, so that's a formula he teaches, and it's actually in the book that you were telling me about that you read. Success Principles, E plus R equals O. So that was the first. So yeah, so first there's meditation, second is Byron Katie, third is a formula I teach, E plus R equals O. And yeah.
I will definitely revisit that. Before we came on, I was sharing with Keith that I often keep books, in places where I'm going to be landing for a few minutes, and one of them is my bathtub, and that book by Jack Canfield is in my bathtub right now, and so I will go ahead and revisit that as well.
Perfect.
And how has your life changed by learning these tools? Could you tell us about your your former um, non-navigating clickety-clack self?
Oh, I have to go back many, many years for that, because all these superstars that have been in the book have been the people that, when I wrote my second book in 2006, all took me under their wing and have been business mentors and board of advisors for my company, and have taught me, everything I know since then. So I'd have to go way back, but I used to just get beat up by what I call other people's drama, like
Mm,
other people's drama, like something that's going on clear across the world, and getting all tied up and knotted up about that as if it was happening in my world. So
mhm,
one thing I love to teach is called my 3 feet. And I draw a circle around me 3 feet wide. And
mm,
this 3 feet right here that's what I can affect. Right? And so I'm inside that 3 feet. So first I need to work on this.
mm,
How am I loving? How am I kind? How am I non-judgmental? How
mhm,
do I treat myself? Do I love myself unconditionally? Do I
mhm,
judge
mhm,
myself? I work on that, and when I do the work to get that where I feel great in my 3 feet, then my concern is who else is in my 3 feet. So if I stepped up to you, DL, how am I treating you when you're in my 3 feet?
mhm,
Am I with you, or am I always darting around looking for a better offer when I'm talking to you? All
mhm,
right, I hate that. Right? How am I with you? Do I treat you like you're the only one?
mhm,
Like, I have a mentor. His name was Carl Anderson. Anytime I was in front of him, it was like I was the only one in the world when I was standing in front of him. That's how I felt. No one else and nothing else mattered but me when I was standing with him. And so anytime somebody's in my 3 feet, I want to laser in, be with them, hold for them, be kind to them, be loving to them. Right?
mhm,
Uh, Once I've got that down, then and only then am I in a space where then I can move into a room and speak in a room of 1,000 people, and then expand that 3 feet to fill the room. Now
mhm.
I'm in front of the room and I'm teaching, how am I with everyone in the room? If someone stands up and they have a question, am I that guy that's like, oh, what a silly question. I can't believe that they asked that. There's no silly questions.
Right.
No matter what, there's somebody in the 10, 100 other people in the room that wanted to ask the question, didn't have the guts to stand up.
Mhm,
How am I with everyone in the room? Am I exuding that love? Am I sharing all the things that I worked on here
mhm.
energetically with the room, and holding them in that love and in that space? And when I get to where every room I'm in, I can fill it with that, then I can expand it out to
Right.
cover the planet, right? But
Right.
it all starts with this 3 feet. I can't do any of that work. I shouldn't go on TV, radio. I shouldn't write any books. I shouldn't do anything unless I am comfortable in this and love myself unconditionally and don't judge myself, right? It all
Mhm.
starts, once I've got that down, then I'll attract relationships with people who are a match for that.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's perfect. That is perfect. You had mentioned some mentors, and for some people who might be watching this, learning how to get these principles might be something new. So in addition to your book,
Yeah.
give me your top three that were most influential to you.
Wow.
That's top I
Way
know.
of the Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman
Mm-hmm.
is one. Um, the Chicken Soup for the Soul
Yeah, we
series
both talked about that.
completely changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus
Ah,
is a
interesting.
relationship book,
Mm-hmm.
and that that really introduced me to all the man stuff. I thought all that stuff was just me. So to kind of find
Mm-hmm.
out that every man needed cave time when he got home and felt pounced if somebody said something within the first 10 minutes he was home. And I didn't know that if my wife said, can you take out the trash for me? Like, I didn't know why that offended me to the core. It was a simple question. but if she said, "Will you take the trash out?" I was like, "Of course I can," and I would do that in a heartbeat.
Right.
But "can you" indicates that I can't take the trash out and that I don't know how, and then I get triggered. So it was like all
Mhm.
that stuff was magic to me and helped me so much. And ultimately, for the first book that my wife and I wrote, The 7 Steps to Successful Relationships, we actually got John Gray to endorse us on the front cover of our
Oh,
book, saying
wonderful.
that we had relationship tools that work. And so without reading that
Full
book and
circle.
gaining what I did, yeah, I would have never got that endorsement. Um, so yeah, exactly, full circle. And the student becomes the master, right?
Right, right. Yeah, one last question. So is anybody too old to learn to navigate the clickety-clack?
Oh, never, never. We can never have too many tools,
I
and
agree.
that's what's interesting. That's why there's a third book. People that have volume 1 and volume 2 still said, "Is there going to be a volume 3? I want more. I want more." Because
Yeah.
ultimately, what happens with these books is if there's 18 authors or 18 people that shared the tools, probably 5 or 6 of them you're going to feel like I interviewed just for you.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones
That's
that you're
great.
like, oh, that was just for me, right? It won't be every one of them. Nobody's for
Of
everyone,
course.
right? And
Right. Yeah.
so if you got 5 that were for you, you may like desire 5 more. And I think that's why people keep asking. And I'm just like, okay, wow, I'll just keep stepping up and doing it because it's just a passion project for me,
Yeah.
and I've loved it so much.
And I can certainly attest to it because I have the books and I did relate just exactly what you said. So tell me once again
Yeah.
about when the book's coming out and the launch party, and that information will and link will be in the description box below this video. So for people who are
Perfect.
interested, tell us when and where and how. I already
Yeah. So
told
the
them
launch.
that.
so, so the launch party is Thursday, January the 13th. It's going to be from 7 to 9:30 Eastern time. It's in
Mhm.
the evening so that it kind of works out for most people
Everybody.
wherever you're
Yeah.
at. I will have all the authors from the book on the call.
Mhm.
John Demartini will be on live. Reverend Michael, it might be a recording with him. All the other authors, interviewed live. I'm going to be giving away prizes. I'm going to teach how a bestseller is made, and you're going to take part in that and helping the book become a bestseller. The prizes are very valuable that I'm going to be giving away, and it's just a lot of fun, and you get to personally meet all of the authors, and
Yeah.
that way when you get the book and you read it, right, because you're
Mhm.
waiting to purchase it until you're on the live event. When you get it, then you've got a face for every
Yeah.
name already, and you feel like you
Excellent.
know them, and so that's like a whole nother level of the
Yeah.
experience. So it's a good time. The link will be up there, tinyurl.com
Mhm.
/ NTCC live event to
Mhm.
register now. It's free. There's no cost for the event, but it's just going to be a great time, and you're going to help our book become a #1 bestseller. You'll be part of that adventure.
Excellent. Well, I plan on being there. So thank you again for joining me. And all the details are in the description box below. So be sure to register and join Keith, myself, and all the authors on January 13th. So thank you, Keith. It was great to see you
You're
again.
welcome.
And I look forward to seeing
Yeah,
you on the 13th. Bye for
it's been a
now.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today on Step Up with D.L. Walker. For any information about our guest, it'll be found in the comments box below this video. For more information on how you can recover from injury, restore vitality, and gain resilience from disease and trauma, all in the comfort of your home, click the link on the screen. Until next time, take good care of your body, mind, and spirit. It's the only true home that you really have.